vanity projects are very much at the heart of this episode, I think, in one way or another. And if you think Prince was a big 1980s star getting a vanity project, how about like biggest star? Well, it's got to be the biggest star of the 80s, the most well-known person in the world at the time, one of the most well-known people in the world ever, decides to make a film. Well, I say make a film. It's not really the best word, but I'm struggling to find another.
Yes.
So, yeah, Moonwalker, Scott, where Michael Jackson's a car.
Yes. I believe Moonwalker was one of the VHS tapes that came with my parents' first VHS machine after fleeing the superior Betamax format. So I've seen this a few more times than maybe expected, and I might be expected to say that, hey, this is weirder than I remembered, but no, it's pretty much exactly as weird as I remember, and that's probably fitting given that it is from the mind of Michael Jackson, whom science has determined to be weird at best. I mean, it starts off much as you might expect, with a film of a live performance, then a very well done collage-style retrospective of his career with the Jackson 5, and an almost impossibly cute recasting of the bad video with kids, and later on, the still pretty cool collage-style video for Leave Me Alone. But there's a taste of the strangeness to be fully embraced later between these last two, with the extended Speed Demon section featuring an altogether too long chase sequence around the studio backlot with a cast of claymation grotesqueries, and as much as I'm a sucker for the technique, this is perhaps a bridge too far. Still, at this point, if it's gone off the rails slightly, there's still at least the concept of rails present in the first place, which rapidly dissipates in the, hour-long final section where Jackson and his best friends, a group of little children, including young Sean Lennon, who go off into the woods, with hindsight, maximally cringe-inducing, only to stumble across Joe Pesci's underground criminal fascist drug-dealing arachnophile, who plans to, I suppose, control the world by having them all become addicted to drugs, which then happens instantaneously for given values of world, where world equals deserted studio backlot, but it's okay because Jackson can transform into a car and then a robot and then fly away into space, only to immediately return to Earth, and at some point Smooth Criminal and Come Together get sung. All of which prompts the question, what? and it does not seem interested in providing any answer to us. It's all very strange, and in a way critic-proof, because it doesn't seem to be intended to make any sense or have any meaning beyond some, at the time, mildly flashy effects work and indulging Michael Jackson's whims, which I suppose it does, but that's no help to us poor schlubs in the audience that just want to see the Smooth Criminal video, which, as you'll remember, is a 30s speakeasy-inspired piece that in no way fits in with this weird sci-fi dystopia setting of the surrounding framework. What a strange and sadly quite boring section. Right, so where would that leave Moonwalker under ordinary circumstances? Probably more or less where it is now. Much like The Wall, even for the most ardent fan, there's not much in the way of compelling reasons to watch this more than once as an idle curiosity, rather than playing an album. And after his trials for sexual abuse, where our legal department insists that I point out he was acquitted, after that, his character's in a very different place. And, well, look, I don't hate this film, but there's not a huge number of reasons to dig up this piece of the past. Let it go. Let it go.
The upside of this for me compared to The Wall is that I really, 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 really like Michael Jackson's music and always have.
Yes, I mean, who doesn't?
Yes. Monsters, Scott.
Yes, monsters.
And, I mean, I have such fond memories of this in a way in that the first... There may have been others in like the wee like kids tapes and stuff, but the first album I remember being mine that I got to choose, my parents said, like, what do you want to buy?
Yeah.
Was Michael Jackson's Bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I wore out that cassette.
Yes.
I knew that film back to front, and I love Speed Demon. And I like my first real experience of stereo separation.
Yeah.
When the bike passes from one ear to the other, and I thought that was amazing. And start to listen critically to music.
Yeah. And
also, the first, again, and I'm sure there were things in the house and maybe things that were from me and my sister. There was family videos, although, and a few were the same. I think in the 1980s, like having videos at home wasn't that common. You'd have a few.
No, you would have things you taped off the telly, but you wouldn't have things
that's a bunch of blank tapes that you tape things off of the television. But actually, pre-recorded cassettes pretty rare back then. And one of the very first films I got on VHS, and I got it for Christmas, was Moonwalker. So I, like you, have seen it a lot, way more than you might expect. Although, thinking about this, I realised that I'm sure it was the same Christmas time. And how this happened, I don't know, because my parents were reasonably conservative about letting me watch more older orientated stuff.
Yeah.
But that same Christmas, the other video cassette I remember getting was Beverly Hills Cop.
Very different work.
Yes. The 18-rated Beverly Hills Cop that I got the same Christmas as Moonwalker for some reason. And I honestly don't know how that slipped through. But I would like you to take a guess, Scott, which one of those two films I watched the most and which one I have the fondest memories of. Because I knew Beverly Hills Cop back to front.
Yes.
And I watched Moonwalker once, I think, maybe more than once, a few times, but again, that's just more I didn't have much other choice at the time. And it's entirely as weird as it was then, although I had kind of forgotten Michael Jackson turns into a car.
Yes.
And a spaceship, and I think I remembered the robot.
Yeah.
But, I definitely didn't remember Joe Pesci. It's a long time since I've seen this.
And his glorious high-heeled boots.
And his ponytail. Oh.
Yeah.
And high-waisted trousers as well. He's dressed like Steve Jobs, but shrunk.
Yes.
And the black turtleneck. But I don't know who this film's for. I guess Michael Jackson fans, you get an awful lot more of it than Pink Floyd's The Wall, I think. Yeah. And that opening section is so well done. It's a lot of good music together, really good quality animation, even if although it's a bit better, but the little robot reminded me of Rotor. And yeah, that's really good. And it kind of, for like, about 2/3 of it basically feels like a concert video or a collection of music videos.
Yeah.
Maybe it should just have been that.
Yes, definitely should have been. Yeah.
Because the bit where there's no music is such a drag. Yeah. It seems to go on forever, and there's probably a 20-minute section from the end of Smooth Criminal to the point where Michael Jackson dies in a definitely not trying to put him as Jesus type of way, and comes back alive after he's left to go to space to do the concert at the end. That 20 minutes feels like an hour.
Yeah.
It's so long, it drags so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the structure of it's so weird because it opens up with the concert footage, and then it goes on for quite a bit. And I made a note of it. The actual film bit of the film doesn't begin until 21 minutes and 43 seconds. Mm-hmm. It's all just music video up till then.
Yeah.
More or less music video, right? It then stops again at 33 minutes 19 seconds. So you get 12 minutes of film in there, and that's basically just him wandering in the backlot of a film before Speed Demon starts.
Yeah.
And I love Speed Demon, but yeah, that section goes on too long.
And there's also part of a different film, the one that goes on to be.
Yes. And then, 37 minutes in, it starts again. We get the second beginning of the film. It's so weird. And there are so many entertainments. Like the bit when it comes back to the concert at the end, and Michael Jackson starts singing a cover of Come Together by the Beatles. Yeah. Like, this is excellent.
Yes.
I like the song. I like the Beatles, like Michael Jackson. I know Michael Jackson was a big fan of Beatles. He owned the Beatles music rights for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was one of his biggest assets. At the end, when he'd lost all his money, it was one of the last things to go because he presumably didn't want to let go of them, even though they're worth a lot of money, because he cared about them. This is fun. And then there's all this weird stuff going on in between. Like, this is really boring. Yes. Why is this here? Who is this for? Presumably for Michael Jackson, but it's the weirdest video, but a weirdest film. Again, Michael Jackson's a car for some reason.
Yes.
Why? And they seem to live in this dark soundstage, pretending to be a European street, because the cobbles definitely read to me as European. I don't know if you get many of them in the United States. Maybe New York City, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that happens to be next to the middle of a really kind of nice mountain area, which is where they go with the dog. Like, what is this film's geography? Nothing in this film makes sense. Nothing's connected. It's just, here's some stuff. Here's some other stuff.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's a car now. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely a section that kind of got away from itself at points. Yeah.
It's really weird. But I mean, there are some really nice bits. I mean, I like the Speed Demon, but it's the length of the Speed Demon bit that's too long. So
yeah, absolutely.
the claymation's quite good. And it's actually composited into the live action shots, live action plays, about as well as you could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's high quality stuff. I mean, it's not a surprise. Michael Jackson was the most bankable star in the world at the time. It's like, he's got to be pretty much the most famous person on the planet when this was made. So, you know, the fact that it's well made is not surprising at all. Only a $22 million budget. I'm honestly kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because you could put a whole chunk of money just into that opening 30 minutes.
Yes.
And then there's so many nice touches, like the recasting of Bad as the Children, which had stuck in my head so long that I'd kind of forgotten that wasn't actually the Bad video.
Yeah.
Because I knew Wesley Snipes is in the Bad video, but I kind of thought that they were both in the official video, but I realised, no, the kids' version is just Moonwalker.
Yes.
And the kid playing the young Michael Jackson looks so like Ice Cube.
Yeah.
I mean, not even a wee bit. Like, it's like, I almost looked up on IMDb, then realised, well, no, it can't be because the years are wrong, because NWA were starting round about then anyway. So Ice Cube's like 19 or so when I was, it's definitely, boy, did he look like Ice Cube. Yeah, so there are nice touches in there and some interesting things, and Smooth Criminal's always great, but Michael Jackson's a car now. Why? Why is Michael Jackson a car now? It's a weird artifact of Michael Jackson. So I mean, it's fitting in that regard.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not even sure if it qualifies as a vanity project in the way that so many things do, because it's not. I mean, half of it's stuff that existed anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like put together, and like, how much input did Michael Jackson actually have on this? I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I can't really put coherent thoughts together because no coherent thought was anywhere near this film.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if this was made, you know, a few years later, would it have just been a compilation of the music videos, which were becoming nascent at the time? Probably would have been better for it. Because that's almost what this is, apart from where it just kind of gets away with itself, particularly on that Smooth Criminal bit, as we've been speaking about, the weird car section, which just kind of gets away from itself and just is altogether too long for what it is, and is largely nonsensical. So, yeah, hard to recommend on that basis. But at least we got a couple of decent games out of it. The arcade version is quite good.
It even does credits weird, because you get some sort of credits, and then Ladysmith Black Mambazo appear in the club that Smooth Criminal was set in.
Yes.
And then you get some more credits, which seem at least have to be more or less the same credits as before, or they're more credits for the same thing we've already had some of the credits for, because it's kind of broken down into the sections rather than as a film as a whole.
Yeah.
It's a weird film.
Yes.
And I appreciate its weirdness, but also, no. Just no. I don't regret having watched it again, but I'm never going to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe actually, no, I'd watch the opening montage again, because it's like kind of a best of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Although I would suggest that they didn't really interpret Ben particularly well. You know, because Ben, friendship with this kid and his pet rat, but then you just showed millions of rats in a sewer, and have a newspaper headline said rats. I think you've kind of misunderstood that, whoever came up with that section.
See, your expectations were subverted. Yeah.
It's about family. Yeah, it's so strange, but I don't think I could recommend it even out of curiosity, just because that section with Joe Pesci at the end, with the robot and things, it drags so much. It feels like the whole rest of the length of the film added to that section. It's so bad. And very, very 80s. Very 80s, but kind of low budget 80s. And it looks so ugly as well. It's the horrible lighting. It's quite clearly in a fairly cheap set. It's a strange mixture. There's so much care going into the montage at the beginning.
Yeah. Maybe that's where all the budget went, and there just didn't have any money left to get anything more convincing than just whatever backlot happened to be there at the time. Yeah.